SDI SuperCars and we're here at Monza.
Round 7 of the SuperCars Championship, and north of Milan and selected 7 of the speakers this road, home course of Formula 1 Grand Prix. So we've got 5.8 kilometres, 50 from Prix track. It'll be high speed action, a lot of long, fast straights, and so as we jump on board with Nick Baker as he heads down the main start-finish straight here at Monza, it is an absolute joyride down here. The cars are at full throttle the whole way down, and as they get close to the first chicane, which is an absolute cluster, they're in 6th gear, 280 kilometers an hour, finding your braking point and then pinning it down, cutting the inside curb on the left, using every bit of road on the way out, being careful not to touch the kitty litter. In first gear, as you come out of there, it's pretty slippery and hard to get the traction down. You then come through a right-hand corner, that just keeps on going, Curva Grande, as you make a shoot down to the second chicane, which is pretty much a carbon copy of the first one. Hard left, being careful not to use too much of the curb, otherwise you'll pick yourself up a slowdown. Getting the car turned in, using a bit more curb aggressively on the right-hand side, and then back up to 4th gear before chopping down to 3rd for Lesmo 1. Tucking it in close on the inside, using every bit of track on the outside on the way out, and you've got a short shoot through to the second Lesmo, and then again off down another straight as we head towards the famous Ascari curves. Ascari curves, another chicane, different shape to the first two, carry a little bit more speed through there, 270 kilometers on entry. Again, hammering it back down to 3rd gear, and then turning it in left, and then drifting out wide, not too wide, to try and straighten up the corner. You can absolutely nail that anti-cut curve on the outside. You can see Nick using every bit of road to make sure that he gets onto this long straight as they head down towards Parabolica. So again, up to 6th gear, absolutely flying in, keeping the car over to the left-hand side and then tucking it in tight, feathering the throttle. The car just wants to get away on you, 630 brake horsepower. It is hard getting traction down to that road. So we drift out to the left-hand side in 4th gear, and then absolutely pin it, heading back down the straight and over the start-finish line. And that is a lap on Monza with Nick Baker, winner of our Split 2 race.
So we got Jamie Stolford in first, Sparrow second,
Darren Wobber for his promoting performance in 3rd, and we've got Anderson in 4th.
right header side in 5th, and
7th will see Vin Rensburg, 8th Mike Robinson,
9th another header side, and 10th Big Drag.
11th we've got Simon Hedeshide, and 12th Ricky Royal. Down to Matt Stevens, Tony Walker,
Xavier Simmons, followed closely by Greg Scully.
Tony Lynch in the hardcore car, and another Megan Turbo.
And Houston, following Nash and Nicole.
And Lee Childs in a Nathan car, another Baker Strike car, Nathan White.
Peter Brown, Mustang, followed closely by Jury.
And William and Cranston.
Lastly, Vermont from James. We're going to head to the front of the grid as the cars rev up for the start of round 7. SDI SuperCars NZ, and they're off.
They will be tearing down. It is hard work getting these cars pulled up on cold tyres in that first chicane. Always plenty of action here, so we'll see how they go.
All the cars searching for a way through as they come up to the first chicane.
Oh, Sparrows had to cut across. That'll get him a slowdown there. Cars by and large look like they're making it through cleanly though. Might have been a spinner at the back.
looks like there's already a battle up the front. 3 cars wide around the sweeper.
Oh, that's brave stuff. And down to the second chicane. That is a lot of cars to fit in a very tight piece of road.
Stolver
Looks
going
like
for
they've
the
got him pulled up.
inside. Darren Lobb trying to hold him off.
Down to the Lesmos. And Stolvard looking up the inside. Is he going to make the move?
Oh, there's some
not a lot of road
contact.
there.
James Anderson makes advantage. Gets up on the inside of Stolvard.
Liam Lawson and Heddershide sitting back there licking their chops as well. They're in with a chance here.
Yep, Lawson looking for clean air on the outside there. Gets past Darren. Everybody's hunting. Where's the gap? Lawson on the inside of
Big
Anderson.
drive. Anderson's just been able to keep it on the road there, thankfully. And single file finally far out, almost through a whole lap, and the cars are 2 abreast the whole way through. That's rough stuff.
Yeah, this is just the first lap. We've got 28 laps tonight. Jamie Stolvard is leading, nearly a second in front of Lawson. Oh, up on the inside, there's contact with Heddershide. Pushes Mike Robinson out wide as well, but they continue.
Be blowing up in the garage there. That is a rough move. That sprint car stuff out wide. Jamie's pushing on here. He senses an opportunity to be able to build a gap. So he's tearing down towards that first chicane again. Hard on the brakes to try and get it pulled up. Liam Lawson just behind him. Through the first part safely. Second part, using the curb, trying to get traction down. It gets a bit slippy through there, but he's done well.
Yeah, Anderson and Lobb not too far off. Lawson and Stolvard.
See the car spreading out a little bit. They'll be able to breathe a little bit. You're holding your breath largely for that first lap around there, just hoping that you don't get turned, you don't make contact with any other drivers. Darren Lobb back in 4th place, so he's made another strong start to this. You see Kevin West coming up the inside of Heddershide there. And he's managed to get the Mustang pulled up. Heddershide's not giving it up.
Sparrow
He's
looking
holding
all
it
the way
in.
through.
Into the second Lesmo, still door to door. It's great driving. Mitchell Sparrow's dived to the inside. He senses an opportunity here. Mike Robinson's going with him, and the Robinson leads the Mustang as they make their way down towards Ascari. What have we got? 1, 2, 3 abreast easily there.
Oh, this is only the second lap and huge action already.
These cars are close together. This is awesome racing. Nailing that anti-cut curb on the inside, using every bit of track on the outside to get maximum drive onto the straight here as they blast down towards Parabolica. Cars weaving around, they're trying to make sure that they tuck in close behind to get that slipstream. Slipstream, obviously at a low downforce track like this, massively important. Oh, still banging doors
contact
there. Kevin West wearing one on the side and Dan Heddershide there. He's still got his foot firmly in it though, not giving anything away. Both the Speed Nation cars line abreast, a little bit of panel damage down the side. Back to the front, Jamie Stolvard through the first chicane. Liam Lawson hot on his tails. Looks like Stolvard got a great drive out of that chicane there, so Liam's dropped back a tenth or so.
Anderson and Lobb not too far behind, but there's a bit of a gap back to Robertson by 6 seconds, so we've got a good group of 4 up the front. It's a long race
Right
ahead.
there.
Jumping
Hayden
back to
Lamont.
Lamont, back in 28th.
Dana
Jury
Jury
in
familiar
27th.
face.
Yep.
Nice to be back in the main game, mate.
It is. It's a good drive.
Good to see you back up there. Peter Brown down there in 25th. Ricky Royer in 24th. Ricky in practice was rapid around here, so he's obviously come a cropper in the first lap there somewhere, and that's pushed him towards the back of the field.
Yeah, there was a bit of an incident on first lap there I got caught up in, unfortunately.
Willem back in 22nd position, so that tangle down at Parabolica's cost him significantly.
Jake
Cranston,
in
yeah.
20.
Jamie's still out front, dominating. He's got 4 tenths over Liam Lawson, another 4 tenths back to Anderson as they rocket down. Yeah, down to Parabolica. You can see Liam's closed up the gap there. That's great to see. he'll be licking his chops because he'll get a great run. If he gets a good run onto the main straight here, then he can just tuck under the wing, make the most of that slipstream, and then potentially put a move up the inside of Jamie at the end of the straight. See, he's taking a look, but he's not close enough. Jamie hard on the brakes, chopping down through the gears. You've got to be careful not to get compression lock. You're down on the gears super fast there, but if you go too quick, then the car will lock up and you start straight lining that real bad. It's nasty business if you can't get that pulled out. It makes that chicane very challenging. See, Anderson's closed right back up onto Liam Lawson there, so he's obviously had a good run, or potentially Jamie's not quite getting the drive out, which is holding Liam up, and that's given Anderson a chance to catch up onto the back of him. Through Lesmo 1, using every bit of curb, careful not to drift out too wide there or you pick up the slowdown. You see him just clipping the curb on the inside. Yeah, he's gone a little bit wide there, but he's still got good drive, so they're nailing it down towards Oscari here, where they're back hard on the brakes from 270 kilometres an hour back down to third gear and trying to hold that mid-corner speed on the way through. Be careful not to be too aggressive with the curbs. You'll see them nail that inside curb on the way out, drift out wide, careful not to clip the grass and then back down onto the straight towards parabolic.
Matt Stevens back in 10th, sliding out super wide.
Yeah,
Xavier Simmons not too far off. Might take advantage of Matt's mistake there. Goes up on the inside, takes a look. Matt closes the door.
Dion tucked right up and behind. He senses an opportunity here as well. He's nice and close as well, so he'll be trying to get a good run onto the straight here.
Lance Childs back in 13th. Oh, Greg Scully in 14th place there. Doing well.
Hanging in there. Over to the right hand side of the track, just trying to break the toe there a wee bit. Nathan Clive sending it up the inside. You can see the car squirming around. Yeah, trying to get that thing pulled up. He's done well, he's kept it together. That's given Tony Lynch an opportunity to close up on the back of him though as well. Still fantastically tight racing.
Get back to Jesse Houston. Back in 17th place. Huge amount of Baker's Delight cars here, half a dozen at least. Jacob Cranston, 18th. Behind him, Wayne Bourgeon in 19th.
That livery, Wayne representing the Gen X's in the field. It's good to see. Cam James, new to the league, AD Racing, doing a great job. Jamie, still back out in front. These guys are not giving up though. He hasn't been able to pull much of a gap. He's got 4 tenths over Liam Lawson. The slipstream here is good for about 1.5 seconds, so they'll slowly be able to pull up onto the back of him. And if they decide they want to make a move, then obviously at the end of the straight, getting into the first chicane is a great time to do it, but he might just decide just to tuck him behind and just let Jamie punch a hole in the air on the way down the straight so he can save a little bit of fuel. So at the moment you're looking at 2.5 litres per second as they get towards their fuel stop. There will be a mandatory fuel stop in this race, and so if you can save 2.5 litres during the course of the first dozen or so laps, and that gives you a good opportunity to be able to leapfrog the guy in front of you coming out of the pits.
Yeah, so all the gaps there squeezing up on 1, 2, 3 and 4. Will we see a challenge? Could come from
This is what's
anywhere.
so great about a track like this as well. With the slipstream effect, it's very hard to get the car in front of you because they just get pulled along with the car in front punching a hole in the air. So it's great to see some close racing. What a treat, eh? After backing up round 6, which is just action aplenty. It's the series that just keeps delivering at the moment. It's just great to see.
Oh, it's just amazing to see all these top runners all close together. Lap 6, all up together there. Back to Matt Stevens. Looks like he's
dropped down to 10th position.
Lonesome, and he's got Xavier Simmons not too far off behind him.
Oh, Viagra car getting a bit wide on the curb there coming out.
The Baker's Delight cars in full force this round. I think there's, yeah, at least 5 cars or so.
First time that we've seen a V8 supercar at Monza, believe it or not, Dana. World Touring Car Championship, round 1 in 1987. Saw Alan Moffat and John Harvey racing a Commodore here. So this isn't the first foray of the Australian giants here. Came 7th in that race, but the 6 cars in front of them, BMWs, all DQ'd for an illegality. So they picked up the win at round 1 of the World Touring Car Champs.
Lawson is squeezing up behind Stolper down the main straight. Is he going to go for a pass? He looks on the inside.
See who's the last of the late breakers.
And he gets it, he even manages to pull right in front, get that corner, swing through, Stolwood right up behind him.
He's waved the white flag there and let him through, which is smart driving. Now he's just got to try and hold on to the back of Liam. Liam's rapid, so he'll be doing well. Through Curva Grande, the car's just on the edge of traction there. You're trying to use the road just so that you don't get too much wheel spin or slip, which obviously heats your tyres up into the second chicane, using the curbs, not too much of them, otherwise it just unsettles the car. That's a great line through there. Into the first Lesmo. He's a little bit wide there, Liam. Darren Lobb being made to work for his money today. He hasn't just driven away like he did in round 6, but he's right on the back of James Anderson.
Anderson unable to get away.
He's just defending there, just parking the car in the middle of the track, asking Darren some questions, which way is he going to go.
Lobb using some patience, just waiting.
These 4 cars tightening up again.
Yeah, as you say, it's just an interesting track, isn't it? Like, just keeping that slipstream distance, and you're able just to always close up.
And you can't cut the curbs too aggressively here either. They just unsettle the car, and those precious tenths, as I said, if you drop back too far out of slipstream, she's a hard road back up. You're really relying on the car in front of you to make a mistake. So these guys are using every bit of road, but being careful not to use too much of the curve. Obviously, you've got the potential to generate a slowdown, which is crippling in a race like this. And you obviously don't want to pick up too many incident points either. Jamie, right on the back of Liam. Is he going to take a look? No, content just to sit him behind.
It's probably a fair move. It's not the place that you want to find yourself 2 cars wide through that section.
That's right. Liam's got a good run out of that first chicane. It's really slippery trying to get from first gear, trying to get first, second, your wheel spinning the whole way through there if you're not careful. You can see Jamie's got a bit of a run. He's looking out the inside. Oh, he's decided he's still better of it.
Oh, Anderson up on the inside, squeezes straight past both of them.
Is he going to get it stopped?
He does.
He's got it stopped. That is a great move. He's got 2 for 1. That is a sensational pass by James Anderson.
I'm not too sure what happened there with Lawson. It looks like he slowed down a bit, and Stolver just didn't quite take advantage of that. But Anderson said, "Thank you, door open."
I'll take that. Yep. Riding on board with Liam. He'll be wondering what the heck's just gone on there. He'll be defending for all he's worth against Jamie, and then all of a sudden Anderson just flies up the inside of both of them and gets it done.
So Anderson now leading the race after 8 laps. Look at all these guys. I mean, who's going to take it out? It's absolutely unknown what's going to go on.
It's been a bit of rubbing down the right-hand side of Liam's car. Liam Lawson, one of New Zealand's predominant drivers at the moment. He's got a huge season ahead of him. Racing in the European DTM series, racing a Ferrari with Alex Albon, Formula 1 driver. So watch this space. Yeah, great to see Kiwi drivers doing so well.
Fantastic.
He's got his work cut out for him here. Anderson's hanging in there tight in the New Zealand Sim Networks car. Right behind him, Liam Lawson in the Red Bull. Commodore, he's driving a Commodore. Sorry, I thought it was a Mustang for a second, and Jamie behind him. Liam taking a look. Is he going to be able to get it done? Yeah, he's a long way up the inside. Too wide here, doesn't
too
work.
wide.
Oh, you see
Anderson backs off, lets him through.
Yeah, he's had to back out of that. Darren Lobb's still right up behind Jamie Stolbert as well. These 4 cars starting to put a bit of a gap now. They've got 5 seconds on Mike Robinson, the Robinson electrical car, back in 5th place. And he's got Dan Hendershide right on his tail as well. There's a bit of a gap back to Kevin West. Matt Stevens still back in 10th spot. Baker's Delight not giving up. Mitch Sparrow in 9th position. He's right on. Oh, no, you see Simon Heddershire getting all crossed up on the way in, all out of shape.
Just going up there, Daniel Heddershire, up to Mike Robinson, and then back to Darren Lobb.
Great racing from these guys. Riding on board with Jamie, you can see him closing up the effect of that slipstream. Got to be careful under brakes, you don't want to outbrake yourself into here because it makes it a very difficult corner if you push too wide here. Trying to carry as much speed as they can through. You can see them using every bit of road, every millimetre of track. We'll see the effect of the slipstream here. You see him just slowly closing up onto the back of James Anderson. Liam Lawson's got back past him, I didn't see that move. Oh yeah, it was back first chicane. Round Parabolica, back onto the main straight, tearing down there. Maximum velocity as they head into the first chicane, 280 kilometres in 6th gear, right back down to first. Jamie closing back up on Anderson.
Looks like he thinks about the inside, but knows it's just not necessarily the safest manoeuvre.
It's just such a hard spot in the track to be able to get those cars pulled out. So you're a brave person trying to, if you don't get quite a good enough run, trying to get that thing pulled out at the other end. If you're trying to dive bomb the car in front of you, can get real ugly. Dana Jury, 29, yep. Hanging in there in his first race back in the main game. Great to see you back on track, Dana.
Yeah,
oh, you see Blake running a little bit wide in the first part of Ascari there. Tony Walker back in 27th, yep.
The Puma Mustang, Aidan Lamont, 26. Following closely to Peter Brown in 25th.
Bruce Tannock up there, 24th position. Ricky's made his way back up to 23rd. He'll still be very disappointed. He started a lot further up the grid, and as I said in practice, he was very quick around this track.
David Nash and William Greensburg, 21st. Matt Stevens back to 20th.
Yeah, it's unusual to see the HGT Mustang back that far. He's been a strong performer in the first part of the season. Liam's sporting damage on both sides of that car now. There's been a lot of action in the first 10 laps or so of this race. It's set to continue by the looks of things. There's nothing between these cars.
So you look at the times there, 149.94, 90, 94, 77. Robinson doing a 5.8 back in the distance there. Lob right up and behind. Look at this, it's just a centipede. Amazing.
Careful not to use too much curve there. So easy, that first chicane is just an absolute killer. Right through practice, qualifying and through the race, it's easy just to lose 4 tenths there if you spin the tyres or just use a little bit too much curve there, it's rough. I wonder if Darren's saving fuel here, because he looks to be lifting a little earlier and just coasting up onto the back of Jamie. 24. Oh, what have we got?
Shy past Robinson.
Robinson's got a slowdown there, so he's moved off the racing line to let Heddershide through while he clears that penalty. Liam Lawson's still out front with James Anderson tucked up right up underneath him. Looks like he's got a little bit of a gap on James Stolberg, but nothing to speak of really. Looking for a lunge up the inside, no, he's tucked back in. Liam would be trying to stay composed here. He's got a mirror full of Mustang. He's got Anderson behind him, Stolberg behind him, both stalking him down, so he's just trying to run his race, keep his racing lines, and you can see him drifting around just a little bit, just trying to break that toe on the straights, braking hard into Parabolica. You'll clip the curb on the right hand side and you'll see the car start to squirrel and get a little bit sideways. You see the back end pushing out as you're trying to get power down, but try not to scrub those tyres too much or heat them up too much on the way out of that turn because you're just so high speed.
Get a good view down from the blimp cam. flying down the main straight there. Under brakes.
So you've got 1.1 seconds between Liam Lawson and Darren Lobb back in fourth position. And I'm convinced Darren's lifting and coasting and saving a bit of fuel there, so that'll be interesting to see as we get closer to the first round before the compulsory pit stop, just to see what kind of difference that makes.
Yeah, we've seen huge changes in the pit stops in the previous rounds, completely changing the situation. So we look forward to what will happen soon. With lap 12 of 28 laps, just over 21 minutes into round 7, SDI Supercars NZ this week brought to you by Speedy Lube and Tyre.
So Sean McNamara in our very own league, he's actually up in race control, live race control for this race, watching all the action from up there. So pop in, see Sean Macca, ask him what the Macca tap is about. I'm sure he'll give you a discount. He's famous for the rub and run. He's an expert at it. I know at our fun races and practice races. He's a fantastic competitor. It's great to see him out on track. He's put in the hard yards for us up in race control. So thanks Speedy Lube and Tyre for getting on board and supporting us in round 7. SDI Supercars, Steve Darren Interiors as well, based up in Auckland. Obviously working with a lot of commercial properties up there. If you're up in the Auckland area, he does fit outs, does all sorts of construction in that commercial space. So if you've got any need in that area, pop in, see Steve, get in touch with him through our Facebook page, and I'm sure he'll be able to help you out. He's a great guy.
We're just going back to Clive and Lynch, Greg Scully in 13th. Lance Childs, 12th. Up and behind Jacob Cranston in 11th. 10th, Xavier Simmons. Oh, huge scrum there. Down the grab.
Very firing it down the inside. He's made it work.
Looks like Sparrow's been doing some rubbing. Sparrow had a good position at the beginning of the race, but just found himself off the track there and had a slowdown. It's forced him back a bit.
I think he got caught up in that Mallet parabolica on the first lap, which has hurt him. But he hasn't given up. He's having a ding-dong battle there at the moment.
Hedderscheid and Robertson, 6th and 5th. Mike doing reasonably well, but screaming out on the outside of the corner. Back with Darren Lobb, still sitting there in 4th.
He's looking menacing, isn't he? He's right up on the back of Jamie. I wonder if he's thinking about putting a move on here.
Still a bit of race, nearly halfway, lap 13.
It's Liam Lawson, 7/10 over Anderson and Stolvard and Lobb close in behind. So this front pack of 4 cars, there's nothing between them. It's going to come down to who makes the brave moves and who's managed to conserve a little bit of fuel to get them to the finish here. But nobody seems to be making a break, although I'd say that Liam Lawson got a fantastic drive out of Parabolica. He's got 6/10 over James Anderson at the moment, but again, as I said, with the slipstream, he's going to get that swallowed up. Stolvard sending a move up the inside of Anderson.
Lawson.
That is impressive.
Anderson gives him room.
Yeah, you can see Anderson just got on the gas a little bit hard coming out of the first chicane. Car got a little bit sideways on him and he's had to give up that position. Darren Lobb tucked in behind him, just backing off, giving himself a little bit of breathing space as they head through Curva Grande down to the second chicane. Car's getting up on 2 wheels, back down, traction down, and then on the gas hard down to the Lesmos.
Some of the drivers starting to take their pit stops halfway through. Be interesting what the leaders will decide to do. Darren making pretty good pit stops in previous races. Usually stays out there the longest.
Well, that could you could very well see a replay of that tonight. He's doing a great job of just holding on to the back of James Anderson here. And I'm convinced he's conserving a bit of fuel, so we'll see how that goes. We can't be too far away from the first round of stops here. You'd likely see them in on lap 15, lap 16, somewhere around there. Whack some fresh tyres on it and get back out there and back into it, get themselves back into a rhythm. Liam running very wide. Look at the car, it's drifting. Drift racing on the way out of Parabolica, back down the straight.
Still manages to get pretty good drive out of there.
These onboard shots are awesome. Those cars
So on board with Liam Lawson. Here we go. We've pulled out the graphics just so you can enjoy.
Oh, you can see a little bit crossed up. He's using every bit of curve there. Try and get traction down. Just watch the wheel work here. You can see just little movements, trying not to scrub those tyres, trying not to overheat it. See him as he comes into the second chicane. Smoothly in. Sharp to the right. See him working away on that wheel, trying to get the thing straightened up to go and get the power back down. Sideways there coming out of the first Lesmo, up into fourth temporarily and then back down to third and second Lesmo, and then you've got this run down to Ascari. It's going to be great to see Liam out on the international stage, but while we've got him here, SDI Supercars NZ, it's great to see him competing in round 7.
Yeah, one of the more sort of aggressive drivers, not afraid to put himself into the risk angle.
Yeah, there's risk of return there if you use too much curb on the outside there. You clip the grass, you're going to get an
Anderson
incident
looking.
point.
So Stolberg looked like he had a really good run there on the outside.
Yeah.
Lawson actually covering.
Lawson got wide coming out of Ascari. You can see him clip the grass there and the car start to get away on him. That's given Jamie the run. Stolberg coming up, he's looking around the outside.
Oh, Darren Lobb is in early.
Wow, we don't see that from Darren very often, but he knows what he's doing, so he's obviously got a plan. Into pit lane, lap 16.
Hedderscheid also in.
So
Sparrow
Darren could be looking for the undercut here. Get out, get on fresh tyres first. Lap and a half, 2 laps in these cars. The tyres really are at their best. You sort of think when you come out of the pits on cold tyres that you're going to be all over the shop, but it really only takes a couple of corners for these tyres to get up to temperature, and then you're in with a fighting chance. So he'll be looking to get in some quick laps here and see if he can leapfrog these guys with a quick pit stop. Here we go. We see James Anderson looking up the inside.
Stolberg gives him some room.
It's good driving from both of these guys, good racing room, good respect shown. Anderson in the New Zealand Sun Networks Mustang just tucking in behind there.
Consistency of these front drivers, keeping together. Darren Lobb back out on the track.
You can see the car moving around with cold tyres there, trying to get that pulled up. But he'll have his eyes on. He'll be on an absolute mission here to put in the absolute best lap that he can manage to see if he can get a jump on these guys. We'll wait and see if we see them come into the pits this lap. They won't want to be hanging around on old tyres too long because it's going to be costing them precious tenths of seconds, which gives Darren on fresh tyres the opportunity to start.
It's also looking a bit screamy. Oh,
He's
Lawson
pulling off
dives into the pit stop.
All three of them.
It's super hot.
No!
He spins it right around. Oh no!
That's huge.
He's trying to get back to the pits. He's stuck doing a 100-point turn.
That's Austin Powers stuff right there. That's huge damage on the track racing Mustang, but he's lucky he's got a fast repair there, so they'll patch that thing up and get him out there. It shouldn't cost him too much time other than the time that he lost. Obviously, that awful pit entry. Darren Lobb just putting a move on, I think it was Van Billy on there. Yep.
So Darren, this is what we're talking about. Anderson on the pit exit.
Is he going to get it done? Is that
There's Anderson, and he passes him just like that. Darren Lobb up effectively into first position. The drivers in front of him have yet to pit it.
Yep. I So I mean, that's just smart driving by Darren Lobb. He knew exactly what he was doing. We could see him lifting and coasting, going into the turns, and just saving little bits of fuel here, little bits of fuel there, and it all adds up. Obviously, the more fuel you can save, the less time you're stationary in your pit stall as they top that thing back up for the final stretch, and he's used that to maximum advantage there. It's great driving. So just great racing brain, you know.
Stolberg back out, pit crew doing a super fast fix on his vehicle. He's back in 10th, not the final result again. Drivers in front, still yet to pit, but losing a huge amount of time. Massive incident into pit entry. Also Lawson, way back in 17th place. I think.
So what's happened to him there? Did he get caught up in that incident on the way into pit entry?
Yeah, he maybe got a penalty. Could have been penalised coming into that entry if he was maybe too fast. Not too sure.
Come in. You're coming off the straight into the pit lane there. It's hard to get the thing pulled up. He probably had his eyes in the mirror as well, looking to see what was going on with Jamie, because Jamie obviously came in super fast. See Mike Robinson in the Robinson Electrical Mustang into the pits now. Jacob Cranston joining him. You can see the yellow cones that signify the start of your pit lane there. You obviously got to be able to scrub off a heck of a lot of speed to be able to get it pulled up and not generate a penalty. So if Liam's picked up a penalty there, that would explain why he's dropped so far back through the field.
So super fast lap there by Lobb, 1:48.24.
That's rapid.
Nearly a qualifying lap. Half a second off a super fast qual. Sparrow, 48.5.
So Liam's dropped back to 17th position in the Red Bull Mustang.
Wow.
And Lobb out in the Simrigs Mustang, doing what he did last week. Although he hasn't quite got the advantage. You see James Anderson's only, 7/10 of a second off him there, so he's not out of this.
Walker back in 28th, just having a look at the backfield there. Blake Reynolds in 27th. Jury in 26th, slowly moving up through the pack. Peter Brown, 25th. Ricky Roa in 24th. David Nash, 23rd.
These guys will be pleased to have some fresh boots on these cars.
Behind his teammate, Bruce Tannock, in 22nd.
Ooh.
Oh, they just about looked pretty sideways there, didn't they?
Yeah.
Peter Scheid, first. Rendsburg, 20th.
I just can't overstate how important it is to be able to get, good brake into the chicanes to be able to get maximum exit speed on the way out. Because with these long straights, it just costs you for days as you come back out. You just feel like you're losing time, all the way through that short shoot.
Wow, Anderson with a 1:48.07 too.
So he's got fresh tyres on now as well. And being 9/10 back from Darren Lobb, he's still got the draft, so he'll be using that, hoping that he gets, pull himself back up on the back of Lobb.
Goldwood with a 1:47.8.
Yeah, let his wild eyes on after that pit entry.
Scully, Lynch and Childs, 150s.
The pace there, but mate, I'm happy sitting at 10th spot. That'll be my best performance to date in the championship. So we'll be hanging in there for all it's worth.
Yeah, no, fantastic fit there, Greg. Excellent driving. So here with James Anderson looking up towards Lobb. 0.8 second now, so he's closed in the gap.
I've seen that fluctuate between 0.6 right up to a second. So he'll just be trying to get his rhythm back after the pit stop and see if he can drag himself back up onto the back of that Simrigs Mustang.
I mean, the pit stops in these rounds, the SDI SuperCars NZ rounds, are just making huge differences. They're just completely changed. Like it's just about a different race coming out of the pits. Obviously, Dawson,
I can say,
incident.
being in my first season as well, you trying to get your head around things like saving fuel at a track like this where it can, it can be so beneficial. It just doesn't even enter your mind, to be honest with you. You're trying to keep the thing on the black stuff and hold position. You're defending at times, doing whatever you can just to try and circulate, not lose positions. And the last thing I was thinking about is saving fuel. So, these guys have been able to keep a level head. They've obviously been racing super close, super tight, and yet, have the racing nous to be able to, think a bit further down the line as to how they can strategically get a move done, in 5, 6, 7, 8 laps time. So it's just great racing. It's great to see. Viagra Mustang's looking straight. There's no panel damage there. It's slick. I've got plenty of company though.
Yeah, Lynch there.
Tony.
Up on that small mistake out of that corner. Not quite getting the drive there.
No, too wide on the exit of that first chicane. Looking to the outside, is he going to be able to get a move done here going into the second chicane? That's not bad.
Oh, super wide.
Oh. Yeah. So he's been leapfrogged there by Childs. So he's going to pick up the baton and run with it. No, he's just got all crossed up. In the background there, he's managed to, he held on to it.
Lynch wondering which way to go.
Lynch will pick that spot back up. But no, it looks like Childs has been able to hang in there. Dion DeGraaf still circulating.
Sparrow and Stevens up ahead there.
See them.
Sparrow going wide.
Sparrow's all over the back of Stevens, but just outbraked himself a little bit there. Stevens got a good run onto that start-finish straight.
It's quite forgiving, that corner. There's a bit of a run-off, even if you sort of end up off track. Still an opportunity to only lose maybe a place.
Oh, he's not lost anything there. You can see he was making a dive back down the inside. Kevin West having a fantastic race as well. He's up in the 5th spot. That'll be one of his better performances as well, so it's great to see that.
Jamie Stott now up in the 4th position, so making an excellent recovery.
That's crazy after that pit entry. To still be able to be up in that top 5.
And just good to see him, just keep going, push, not giving up.
He would have been massively frustrated with himself, but he's been able to put it behind him and just press on. There's still 8 tenths between Darren Lobb and James Anderson. James Anderson is like a dog with a bone here. He's not wanting to let this go. He's not wanting a repeat of last week. Lobb's not driving away like he was last week, so that's good to see from a competition perspective, but he looks to have this race in hand. 7 laps to go. He'll just be trying to focus on his lines and get good exit speed just to be able to retain that gap back to Anderson. Anderson's hoping that he makes a mistake to be able to pull right up on the back of him and start really pressuring him.
Yeah, once he gets into that sort of 0.5 second area, he can really make a true gain. Demonstrate, but just look at the time here, so 8.0.
So 2 tenths.
Not quite yet.
There.
A bit too far away to get that stream.
You see it coming down, he'll get a couple of tenths on this start-finish straight, and then we'll see how brave he is coming into the first chicane. It's a good line out of there, using every bit of road there. Darren Lobb, actually there's a green and white portion to that curve, which is nice and smooth on the outside of the ripple strip. It's absolute disaster 10 millimetres to the right because you're into the kitty litter, but you can use that green and white strip.
Stevens up on the inside of Sparrow.
Yeah, last of the late breakers. He's got the move done though.
Stevens up to 6.
Fantastic track to see these cars go. Oh no, Lance Childs had a big spin there. That is the challenge. He's obviously got that, he's missed his braking marker and got that all wrong into the first chicane. And he's ended up pointing the other way. That's giving Greg Scully a bit of breathing room, I'll take that. Matt Stevens, Mitchell Sparrow, and Mike Robinson, all three abreast here, just giving it heaps. Mike will be sitting there behind, licking his chops, thinking, I hope these guys make a meal of this. But no, Mitchell Sparrow looking up on the outside.
That's Matt trying to cover the inside line there.
Managed to get it in there.
Robinson's going, yep. I have that.
Yep, that's opened the door. So you can see Sparrow just caught too much of those. He's a bit too aggressive on the curbs there, and it's just unsettled the car. That's given Kevin West a run too. Can he get this stuck? Oh, is it DeGraff? Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Teammate DeGraff out on the outside there.
Bit of a crisscross using every bit of road, and just pinning their ears back and gunning it right down towards that first chicane. Mike Robinson looking absolutely menacing on the back of Matt Stevens. Matt getting it locked up.
Up the rear.
He's kept it together. Oh, he's got a little bit of a nudge.
Shunt.
No harm, no foul. We'll call that a racing incident. See, Matt just went in too hot, locked the brake. You can see the damage that caused.
Got a bit of a race back here. 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
So Darren Lobb and Anderson have cleared out up front. They've got 7 seconds on Dan Heddershide, and he's got a further 9 seconds over Jamie Stolbert. And then you're into this 4th, 5th, and even 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Mitchell Sparrow in there as well. All just within a few tenths of a second of each other. Got a run here. He's going to look to the outside. Matt Stevens covering the inside. We saw him do that so well last week. Just absolutely brilliant defending. Is he going to be able to do it again here at round 7 as they head into Parabolica? Oh, Mike Robinson absolutely hanging down.
Side by side out of the corner.
And it's an absolute drag race down to that first chicane. Robinson looks like he's got a nose on him, but anything could happen here. What's Matt going to do? Is he going to force the issue under brakes on the head up to the first chicane, or is he going to wave the white flag and just drop it behind?
He's up. Get it pulled up.
Yep, he's done well. I tell you what, this chicane, it's a carbon copy of last time. I was going to say, after Matt locked a brake heading in there the lap before, his heart would have been in his mouth. His stomach would have been in his mouth. Everything would have been in his mouth trying to get that thing helped out into the first chicane this time around.
Oh, it's a crazy corner. Graf looking on the inside, quite happy about those two fighting away.
He's going to try and take advantage of this. You can see that Mike Robinson was just slowed up a little bit there, heading out of that second chicane. So Dion DeGraff trying to take advantage of it in the Speed Nation Mustang. Meanwhile out front, Darren Lobb and James Anderson still going at it, still separated by only 7 tenths of a second. These guys have just been doing this lap after lap after lap. James will be praying for Darren to make a mistake here, but it doesn't look like it's happening. We've seen him just knock out consistently lap after lap after lap and just do such a great job of it.
4 laps to go. Anderson just looks like he's starting to close that gap a bit more. He's just starting to get into the slipstream. If he can keep this up, there is a chance for first. Not going to give in that easy. Super consistent.
Great stuff. This is as good as you'll ever see. These guys just putting in maximum effort here. You see Dion just closing up under brakes, just taking a little look up the inside of Mike Robinson. He's still hard on the back of Matt Stevens. He's struggling a little bit for drive out of there. I wonder if he's hurt his tyres. So frustrating as a driver where you're doing everything you can to be able to get back onto the tail of the guy in front of you, and you just can't get that traction down the way that you want it to. There's nothing you can do about it. You're trying to be as gentle on the throttle as you can, but if those rears light up, you know, you're just going to drop further and further back, so you've got to be patient. Hope that the tyre temp comes down a wee bit. You know, pick that battle back up. You see Mitchell Sparrow getting wide there.
Super wide out there.
Yeah.
It's quite a difficult track actually to get a qualifying time. Any off tracks, your time's not going to count. During a race, you are able to...
Tony Walker having some issues there. Looks like he's gyrated there in the chicane.
Late Greenhill, 25th. Jury, 24th. Still going.
On strong, great to see. Peter Brown in 23rd position. He's got this battle. He's watching World War III unfold out in front of him there. Ricky Roy up to 22nd now after that bad start, unfortunately. David Nash, he's hanging in tight right up behind Cam James. There's a war brewing here. There's a short shoot down between Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. David Nash has been able to make it work. Cam James had to yield to give that position up.
Well, Dion de Graaf opens the door for Matt, lets him through.
Yeah, I think there might have been a touch between them at the last corner, and I think that might have been Dion just redressing that position.
Yes. Would make sense because Matt was up the front there, so something's happened.
Kevin West right up and behind Stolved here. He's trying to push the issue, seeing what he can do in these last couple of laps.
So Kevin West quietly doing very well, fifth place.
Yeah, you haven't seen much of him, but he's just been clean and consistent, just churning in great laps, and it's obviously yielded good track position for him.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll see these guys break into a fight in the last lap, last lap or two.
Yeah, so 47, nearly 48 minutes into the race, 26 laps out of 28, not too far to go. Anderson still a bit of a gap behind Lobb. Don't know if there's going to be a challenge there. We'll have to wait and see.
Daniel Hedeshide's in a race of his own, unfortunately. He's 10 seconds off the back of James Anderson, and he's got Stolved 7 seconds behind him, so he's just running his own race at the moment, trying to keep it clean.
Yeah, it's a good position for podium. He'd be pretty happy with that.
He's only got, a couple of laps ahead of him now.
So 27th lap. Top drivers still in the 149s.
Great positioning of that car, and that is a great example of how to take that first chicane. He makes it look so easy, and it's not easy. It is an absolute nightmare, and obviously the cause of a fair bit of consternation at the beginning of the race when you've got 30 odd cars flying in there.
Anderson.
You guessed it, 7 tenths. He's just hanging on to the back of Darren Lobb, not wanting to give anything away. Just hoping. He's Dion right in the mix here. Oh, Matt Stevens still defending. He's becoming a master at it. Oh, contact from behind. Yeah, it hasn't turned him, hasn't caused any issues there, but it's a little untidy. And he's lucky not to lose the wing of that Speed Nation Mustang. It has compromised, so Mitchell Sparrow's in with a sniff here of getting past Dion, unfortunately, given being, had been slowed up by that contact with Matt Stevens. What are we going to see here coming into the Scari? Everyone line astern, braking firmly, hitting their markers. Smashing that curb on the inside, and then off down towards Parabolica.
Off there, a little bit slow. Anderson on the last lap. Anderson now down to a 0.6. Oh, 0.3. He's right up behind Lob. This is the last lap.
But he's in with a chance here. This is awesome to see. He'll just be trying to tuck up. How risk versus reward. How late are you prepared to brake here, James? He's managed to get it pulled up. Yep.
No one behind
Very
him.
very tidy through there.
Go for that risk.
Halfway through the lap, it's on for young and old here as we head into the last half a lap, the final few turns.
He could get a slipstream on the straight coming up.
You can see Darren's using every bit of road there. He'll be picking up incident points, but so long as he's got a few
threes
up his sleeve.
starting to suck him in.
Anderson in the New Zealand Spin Network Mustang, and we're thinking, why couldn't this be 2 or 3 laps ago? It could have been a heck of a battle, but they're not done with yet. He is just willing everything out of that Mustang, just trying to get onto the back of the Simbriggs car. He's only got one chance left as they head down to Parabolica for the last time. Darren Lobb backing up his performance in round 6.
Oh, he's right up behind him.
He's late on the brake.
Drive out of this corner.
Yep, he's trying to park that thing on the apex just to make sure he's getting... It's just a drag race down to the finish line. No, Darren's going to do it. Back-to-back performances.
Darren Lobb takes round 7. James Anderson, beautiful second. Well done.
Unbelievable racing from these guys. Darren Lobb backing up his performance from round 6 with another win at round 7 here at Monza. James Anderson had a nightmare of a race last week by his own admission. He said, he felt like he had the pace to really push for the win, but got caught out wide, caught on the grass a couple of times, which slowed his progress, and we saw a heck of a battle, translate off the back of that between him and Matt Stevens. But he's been able to go better this week. He's been able to get himself a podium position, having finished 4th last week. But Darren Lobb, celebratory burnouts for all the boys. It's great to see. It's good stuff. Great
fantastic. So Darren Lobb first, James Anderson in second, Hederscheid in third, Stolbert in fourth, West in fifth, Robertson 6th, De Graaf takes 7th, Sparrow in 8th, Stevens in 9th, and congratulations Greg, top 10.
I'll take that. Any day of the week, I'll take that. The quality of these drivers, just it's unreal. So if you're keen to get involved in virtual racing, Supercars racing through iRacing here in New Zealand, then start looking up Supercars NZ on Facebook. Find us there. We've got a couple of different leagues going. We've got the Piston Cup, which is a development series for the Supercars main game, and then throw your hat in the ring. If you don't end up in the top split for the main race here on Championship Tuesday, then you'll end up in the second split. It's a great way to be able to develop your skills in a real racing environment. So look us up, get involved. Big thanks to Speedy Lube and Tyre for supporting us in this week's round, and a big thanks to SDI, who have been our season sponsor, doing a great job keeping us going. But hats off to these guys. Fantastic race, fantastic course, and just amazing racing. So it just it doesn't get any better than this.
It
really doesn't
get any better. It's fantastic. This thanks Greg for coming and sharing tonight with me. Hope you guys had fun watching this, and look forward to next race, round 8.
Fantastic. Good on you.
Cheers, Greg.
See ya. Bye.